Hello there, people of the internet. We are back again with yet another Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity video. Now, recently covered the Pikmin 3 Deluxe content that was shown off in the Treehouse. It took me a couple days to get to the Hyrule Warriors stuff. Sorry about that, but just want to preface this by saying there's actually not a whole lot of information that was brand new that they showed off, so this is going to be a bit of a shorter video. So let's get right into it. The first new thing that we saw was brand new gameplay of Urbosa in the game, and she looks like a lot of fun. She definitely looks like my second most favorite character right now, behind young Impa. I love the kind of sassiness of her moves and animation with the weapon that was shown off during gameplay, and I think that she'll be a very fun character to play in the base game. I was happy with what they showed off with that there. I hope in the near future they show off more champion gameplay. I would love to see how Mipha and Rivali play, for example, but that really wasn't the big kind of news that we got out of this event, this Treehouse showcase for Age of Calamity. We actually got pretty much two new big pieces of information about the game. First, so we got an understanding of how this game's content will kind of be distributed and how the map system works. Now, in the previous Hyrule Warriors game, there seemed to have been a lot of segmenting of content. You know, you had your main storyline stuff, and that storyline stuff had a linear spread of content. It started with one chapter, moved to the next, then the next, and the next, and then it kind of had its more open-ended exploration stuff with its adventure mode, I should say. So those maps were kind of like styled like the old school original Legend of Zelda, or, you know, Link to the Past kind of top-down grid-based map system. That was a really cool way to show off that type of content. In this game, it seems like once again they're kind of taking that essence of Breath of the Wild by literally taking Breath of the Wild's map, or at least, you know, this version of Breath of the Wild's map from 100 years prior, and then stuffing all of the content within this map to kind of make the entire world and game feel interconnected and open. So, you know, you'll be able to go through a bunch of training missions, side missions that give you bonuses and experience. You can go to stables, it looks like. You can go to blacksmiths and item shops throughout the map. And it's as simple as just clicking on an icon, and then you'll be immediately brought to that battle, to that location. You'll be able to do a myriad of these challenges as long as you have the correct weapons or materials. Like the mission they showed off in the gameplay required that Link had a two-handed weapon in order to use it for training, which, again, something that I like that they're doing. They're giving this kind of open-ended feeling to the game where you can go around these multiple areas and choose what you want to do based on the way you choose to progress throughout the game. So yeah, I am a fan of this open-ended kind of map style. I'm hoping that, like Breath of the Wild, right, though they probably won't do it, it would probably require way too much work, is that you could just go straight to Ganon if you wanted to. That would be pretty hilarious. I would love to just like skip all the content and just do it immediately, do an immediate straight to Ganon fight, but the only difference would be that like you just don't have the power or the resources that you would have if you went and found all the champions and, you know, leveled up your character and got all the hearts and stuff. Similar to Breath of the Wild, I would love that sort of open-ended exploration style, but I'm kind of crossing my fingers on that one. So the next thing that they showed off was actually something that I had mentioned in my prior video, and is something that I hope that they would do, that they actually are doing. Now, this has to do with the game's weapon system and how weapons are going to be kind of functioning in this game. From what it seems to me, each character has access to a variety of different weapons with different stats, similar again to the original Hyrule Warriors, but it's kind of integrated in a system in a way that is pretty much like Breath of the Wild as well. So we see that Link essentially has three different types of weapons immediately off the bat, though we can infer that there would likely be more. The bow and arrows that he can equip, and, you know, things of that nature. But we see Link can have one-handed kind of sword-based weapons. He has the Bokoblin club. He has a one-handed broadsword. He has the ladle. And then on top of that, he also can have access to two-handed weaponry. But there are two different types of two-handed weapons. There's like a gigantic mallet. There's a two-handed broadsword, and then there's the spear. Now I imagine the spears would function differently from the broadswords or anything like that, just as they do in Breath of the Wild, where, you know, you lunge with those instead of do these big overhead swipes with the two-handed weapons. But one of the things I love about this new weapon system is that, well, it seems to kind of take that Breath of the Wild experimentation and fuses it with the Hyrule Warriors kind of gameplay and style. Similar with the kind of food system that they have too now as well. You know, it seems exactly similar, like ripped directly from Breath of the Wild, where you can get these different cooking recipes, and each meal that you get will augment your stats in different ways going into a fight. Again, it seems like it's just integrating the Hyrule Warrior style with the Breath of the Wild kind of aesthetic and the Breath of the Wild gameplay functions, and I am so down for that. I absolutely love that. Now, what do I think this exactly means for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity? Well, the main thing I think this means is that I kind of was initially thinking that, oh, you know, it's another Warriors game. They're probably going to have this immense amount of characters to play with throughout the entire game. But considering the sheer amount of customization that is present throughout so many different aspects of this game, from changing your character's outfits to the different foods you can wear to all the myriad of weapons and armor you can use, I believe that this game will focus a little more on character customization and kind of augmenting each of the core characters to kind of fit gameplay styles that work for you, versus having, 20 different characters to play through in the campaign at any time. One of the things that I thought kind of hindered the original Hyrule Warriors, at least in its story mode, right, was that you were very limited in who you could use in each fight and certain encounters, purely based just on, who was available at the party during the story at the time. You kind of were pigeonholed into using like Link, Zelda, Impa, and then whatever new character they introduced in each new story mission. I'm hoping that in Age of Calamity, they'll have a bigger focus on that you can really pick who you want to be in a fight with you and kind of like customize and play around with the small kind of knit roster of characters that we've seen initially, instead of just adding more and more and more characters and trying to see which one fits and lands with you initially. I would prefer that style of, having one or a small handful of consistent characters follow you throughout the story than, defaulting to Link or just defaulting to the one or two characters that are constantly available throughout the plot. So that's pretty much it for the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity content that was shown off at the Treehouse a couple days ago. Again, not a whole lot. They showed again some more gameplay with Link, a little bit of gameplay with Impa, but nothing we really haven't seen before. I'm excited for this game, guys. The more and more I see about it, the more and more they show off, the more I kind of see how they're implementing Breath of the Wild into the Hyrule Warriors and the Warrior style, and just inject it in my veins, guys. It's going to be so much fun. I definitely want to play through this game once it first comes out. I love the world of Breath of the Wild. There are so many things that they're doing here that seem to just be expanding that world, that seem to be adding this narrative kind of fluff and this lore and the backstory of the characters in the world all into Breath of the Wild, which is something I feel like, again, was lacking in the initial Breath of the Wild. So having this be such a fantastic supplemental story experience to Breath of the Wild will be something that I will treasure, likely, because of how much I loved Breath of the Wild. Like, one of the funniest things hearing in the Treehouse, and there have been so many memes about it, right, was how Link, lived in a Hateno village, where if you were in Breath of the Wild, if you remember, he bought a house there, the only vacant house there. So a lot of people are coming up with like these funny theories about, did Link just wake up from a coma and have to buy his own house again? Like, it's just funny stuff like that, like this game is starting to kind of trudge up questions and answers for it, and I love it. I love when games do this type of stuff. In any case, that's been my rant. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.